Hey everybody, this is Unit 5 Formative 2. We're going to be adding and subtracting radicals today. Alright, so when you add and subtract radicals, the main rule of thumb is that you want the same number underneath the square root symbol, or underneath the radical. So in this case, we have a square root of 5 and a square root of 5, so we're good to go. And when you think of combining like terms, that's pretty much what you're doing. Okay, the square root is not going to change, just like when, for example, we took 3x squared plus 5x squared. We just got 8x squared. We didn't add the exponents, okay? So for this case, the radical is not going to change. All we're going to do is add or subtract the numbers out front if the radical is the same. So in this case, square root of 5, we're good. So all we have to do is take 8 minus 12. That gives you negative 4 square root of 5. And that's your answer. Okay, so all I did was take the 8 minus 12 and put the square root of 5 after it. Okay, with a problem like this, works a little bit different because they're not both square root of 5s yet. But what you want to do is try and simplify both of them the best you can. So we're going to take a look at square root of 20 first and break it down into our factor tree like we did in the last video. So 20 breaks down into 4 times 5. 4 breaks down into 2 times 2. We can cross off the 4 because we broke it down. 5 just breaks down into 5 times 1. So there's our factor tree for 20. We have a pair of 2's. So the square root of 20 now becomes a 2 on the outside, and our leftovers, remember, go inside the radical, plus 3 square root of 5. So all I did here was I broke the square root of 20 down into this right here, into 2 square root of 5, and I took the 3 square root of 5 and I just carried it down. Now it's just like the last problem. We have 2 square roots of 5, or we have a square root of 5 and a square root of 5, so we can add the numbers out front to get 5 square root of 5. Or in other words, just combine your like terms. Alright, and the last one here. So we look at the 3 square roots that we have. None of them are the same, so initially you're going to tell yourself, hey, I can't put these together. But what we want to do is actually try and put them together. Okay? So what we want to do is break them down. So let's start with the 4 square root of 12. We're going to break that down. Again, break the 12 down into, let's say, 2 and 6. The 6 is going to break down into 2 and 3. Okay, so we have a pair of 2's that we can circle there. And the 2 is going to go on the outside. Okay, so initially we already know that the 3 is going to go inside the radical because it's the leftover. Okay, the 2 is going to go on the outside, out here, along with that 4 that's already there. So we're going to multiply 4 times this, or one of the 2's, to get an 8. Okay, because there was already a 4 out there. So in other words, I took 4 times 2 to get this 8. Okay, then we're going to take minus, and we're going to do the same thing with the 75 that we just did with the 12. So we're going to break that down. We can go 25 and 3. The 3 is broken down as far as it can go. We can break the 25 down into 5 times 5. And the 5's broken down, or the 25's are broken down. So we have a pair of 5's with a 3 left over. So we're going to have a 3 underneath the square root again, because that's our leftover. And then we have a 5 left over. Or a 5 is our pair, so we're going to take a 5 times this 2. So we have 5 times the 2, and that's where I get a 10 from out front there. Okay? Then, plus 3 doesn't break down. 3 just breaks down into 3 times 1, so there's nothing you can do with that. There's no pairs, so we leave it as 7 square root of 3. Okay, now if you look, all of our square roots are exactly the same, so we can combine our like terms. So we have 8 minus 10 gives us negative 2, and then plus 7 gives us a positive 5 square root of 3. Okay, so for that last step, I just took 8 minus 10 plus 7 to give us 5. And that's how I got the 5 square root of 3. All right, and that is how you add and subtract radicals. Make sure you guys took notes. We will see you later.